So now that we've established that God does exist, and we've shown it's the cosmological argument, the design argument, as well as the moral argument, we can now talk about whose God exists, and does all religions lead back to the same God, and what makes Christianity so different from the rest. So before I even touch on Christianity and monotheism, we have to just go quickly through the whole worldview of religious beliefs in order to determine if all religions really does lead back to the same God, on what makes Christianity very different. So we're going to go through atheism, agnosticism, pantheism, panentheism, polytheism, and we will look at monotheism. Now, those are the major worldviews, and different religious beliefs fall under one of these beliefs. So that's why we'll go through it. So let's quickly talk about atheism. So let me tell you guys this quick story. Many years ago, I was in university and I was making a decision no longer to believe in the existence of God. And God himself intervened in this situation. And the thing about it is that which God intervened in the situation, I can attest to the Christian God. And so let us go into what atheism really believes in. So atheism believes that God does not exist, but we've already proven that God does exist in the cosmological, design, and moral arguments. And so a form of atheism is actually Buddhism. Even the creator or the founder of Buddhism and this Buddhist did not actually believe in the existence of a God. He believed in this coming into a state of actualization, state of enlightenment. That's why it falls under atheism. And even if God does exist, they don't believe that it impacts them. It is a religion without God. I remember when I was having a conversation with a colleague sometime, and he told me that, yeah, he believed that God exists, but we as human beings can never get to know him because he's so big and he's out there and he is not knowable. And that is what we consider to be agnosticism. So agnosticism is really someone who believes in the existence of God, but he's unknown and we don't have the ability to know him. So the word agnostic means to have no knowledge. And this is really purely based on individual. It's not really specific religion that falls on it, but just individual state of mind. Pantheism believes that the universe exists and it will always exist, just like how atheism believes that the universe always existed and it started off with a big bang, and we know what a big bang means. It means that it had a beginning, right? So pantheism says that God is impersonal, that there are no morals, that there is no such thing as good, there's no such thing as evil. There's no such thing as true, there's no such thing as false. And so there are many persons that religious beliefs fall under pantheism. Adolf Hitler actually was a pantheist. He had a pantheistic belief that when someone died, that they wouldn't go in any way, neither good or neither bad. Oh yes, how could I forget this? Pantheists also believe that we are part of God and that everything is God and God is everything. Quick look at the belief of Panentheism, which basically says the world is from God and God is from the world and God is ever changing and he's going through a process. So as we learn, he learns. That's what they believe. So now to pantheism and atheism, they believe that the universe always existed and will always exist. Interestingly, now the state of this religious belief actually goes back to Plato and Socrates. Polytheism, something that many of us are familiar with. Polytheism believes in a multitude of gods, that either gods came from the nature or gods came from men who died and then became gods. Not the same as Christianity, where Christ himself came from heaven as God, came as man, still remained God, and died and rose again. So let's think about polytheism and some religions that actually believe in it. Hinduism believes in polytheism. They have 300 million gods. Well, forms of Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, paganism, and even to an extent Mormonism, because Mormonism believes in multitudes of gods, however they serve one. So the uniqueness of monotheism is that the religions that fall under monotheism, let's look at it quickly: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. The main thing is that they believe in one God, and this God is unique from any other. This God is the one who created the heavens and the earth. This God is the one who sustains all things, and this God is different from his actual creation. However, what makes it distinct, what makes Christianity very distinct, is the belief in Jesus Christ. And so when we look at it, Islam believes that he was a prophet, and the Old and New Testament doesn't really account for it, that it was corrupted and all that stuff. Judaism believes that he was an imposter. But we as Christians believe that Jesus Christ is God, and there's proof of his resurrection. There's proof that he exists today. There's proof that he created the heavens and the earth. And how can I assure you of this proof? So when you look at all the other world religious belief, we see that no one actually claims to have been God. So let's look at Christianity and Jesus. 1. Jesus is the only person to have claimed that he was God. Son of man, son of God. That there's no one other religious belief that actually has that claim. 2. One thing about Jesus is that we have proof of his resurrection. How do I know this? We will talk about it in the next video. 3. Only Jesus has miracles reported of him in early sources. Yes, we have the Bible, but we also have non-biblical sources that prove that he is the one, that miracles follow, signs, miracles and wonders followed him when he walked this earth. Extremely important. We do have eyewitnesses accounts that he did walk this earth, that he did die, that he did resurrect. One thing we must note in Christianity that was different from every other belief. From every other world belief, they believe that their efforts actually will get them somewhere. If you ask a Muslim right now how they know they're going to get to eternity, they might say inshallah, right? That might God will, and they're not sure. And so you have other religious belief like Pantheism and stuff, and Panentheism believe that they have to work into getting into whatever it is their eternity is. So we even have Polytheism, where Hinduism, where they actually believe that they will be reincarnated, and their intention is to become one with Brahma, but this Brahma is unknowable. Whereas with Christianity, what makes Christianity so different is that you could get to know the God who created the heavens and the earth. That's one. That he allows himself and opens himself to be known to those who believe in him. That it is that you don't work for your salvation, that it is a gift. That he actually, there's only claim to Christianity that he came and he died for our sins, because we are all sinful in nature. Just by, without even reading the Bible, moral argument, we can see that if someone murders someone else, that we are very disturbed by it as human beings. And so obviously we know that we know without a doubt what is the difference between good and bad without reading a book. Only Jesus said that his death is payment for our sins. No one else claimed that. And only Jesus requires us to just do one thing, which is to believe in him. No one else requires us to do that. That is what makes Christianity very distinct. You don't work for it, but what you do is to surrender your belief in whatever you believe in, self-actualization and the existence of self and all about self, and then put your trust in God, the true and living God, who will then do everything else for you. Because he's God. We don't carry him in our vehicles. We don't have to bear him as an idol in the sea. We don't do any of that. He's the one who carries us. And that is my strong belief in Christianity, because he's the one that came and told me, Ayanna, you're about to no longer believe in me. From a stranger who did not even know me. I did not tell anybody that I was no longer going to believe in the existence of God. And so he came and he rescued me through a prophetic voice and spoke to that person who knew nothing about me, who did not even know me, and said, you decide that you're not going to believe in me, but I am real. And he showed me that he is real. He showed me that he is real. And he kept pursuing me. And now I'll always believe, because he loves me. He loves you too.